Yes, it wasn't so long ago that I was about to ask Razumikin about work. See if he could find me some teaching or something. Raskolnikov went on to himself. But what can he do for me now? Suppose he does find me some lessons. Suppose he even shares his last kopeck with me, assuming he has one, so that I might even be able to buy myself a pair of boots and patch up my clothes for teaching in. Well, what then? What use is small change to me? Is that really what I need now? How ridiculous this is, going off to Razumikin. The question of why he'd set off to Razumikin troubled him more than even he was aware. He was racking his brain to find in this seemingly ordinary decision some sinister meaning. What? Did I really expect to patch everything up through Razumikin alone? Was Razumikin really my answer to everything? He asked himself in astonishment. He was thinking and rubbing his forehead when a peculiar thing happened. Suddenly, as if by chance and almost by itself, after a very lengthy hesitation, an exceedingly strange thought entered his head. Razumikin, he suddenly said with perfect equanimity, as if reaching a final decision. I'll go see Razumikin, that's for sure, but not now. I'll go to him the day after that, when that will be over and done with and everything will begin afresh. He suddenly came to his senses. After that, he cried out, fairly leaping from the bench. But will that really happen? Surely it can't, can it? He left the bench and walked off, almost running. He was about to turn back home, but the thought of doing so suddenly appalled him. It was there at home, in that horrid cupboard, that all this had been brewing for over a month now, and he walked on wherever his legs should take him. His nervous tremors had become almost feverish. He even felt shivery. In the stifling heat he was turning cold. As if by some almost unconscious effort, by some inner necessity, he began scrutinizing every object he passed, as though trying hard to distract himself, but he was having little success and kept sinking into thought. When, with a start, he raised his head again and looked about him, he would instantly forget whatever he had just been thinking about, even the route he had taken. He walked like so from one end of Dostoyevsky Island to the other, emerged on the banks of the little Neva, crossed the bridge and turned towards the islands. His tired eyes, accustomed to the dust of the city, to the mortar, and to the massive, cramping, crushing buildings, delighted at first in the greenery and the freshness, the closeness, the stench, the drinking dens, all had been left behind. But soon even these new and pleasant sensations began to sicken and irritate him. He stopped occasionally in front of dachas or dakas, bedecked with greenery, peered through the fences, and saw extravagantly dressed women on distant balconies and terraces, and children running about in the gardens. He was particularly interested in the flowers, and looked at them longest of all. Magnificent carriages also crossed his path, as well as men and women on horseback. He followed them with a curious gaze, and forgot about them before they even disappeared from view. At one point he stopped and counted his money. 30 kopecks or so. 20 to the police officer, 3 to Natasya for the letter. So yesterday I must have given the Marmeladovs about 47 kopecks or even 50, he thought as he did his sums. But he soon forgot why he'd taken the money out of his pocket in the first place. He remembered as he was walking past an eating house and realized he was hungry. Entering it, he had a glass of vodka and some kind of pie, which he finished off outside, continuing on his way. He hadn't drunk vodka for a very long time, and it had an instant effect, even though it was only a glass. His legs suddenly grew heavy, and he began to feel extremely sleepy. He headed home, but just as he was reaching Petrovsky Island, he stopped in utter exhaustion, turned off the road into the bushes, collapsed on the grass, and fell asleep there and then. In morbid states, dreams are often unusually palpable and vivid, bearing an exceptional resemblance to reality. The resulting picture may be quite monstrous, but the setting and the unfolding of the entire spectacle are so credible, and the details so fine and unexpected, while artistically consistent with the picture as a whole, that the very same dreamer could not invent them in his waking hours, were he even an artist of the order of Pushkin or Turgenev. Such dreams, morbid dreams, always live long in the memory and have a powerful effect on disturbed and already excited organisms. It was a terrifying dream. Raskolnikov dreamt that he was back in his childhood, in their little town. He's about 7, it's a holiday, towards evening, and he's out walking with his father in the outskirts. A leaden, stifling day, the setting exactly as it was preserved in his memory. Actually, his memory had smoothed it out a great deal compared to what he now saw in his dream. The town lies spread out before him, not a tree in sight. Only far, far away, on the very edge of the sky, is the black dot of a small wood. A few yards away from the town's last vegetable patch is a tavern, a big tavern, which always made the most unpleasant impression on him, and even frightened him when he passed it on walks with his father. There was always such a crowd there, so much yelling, laughing, and swearing, so much hideous, raucous singing, so many fights, so many drunken, frightening types loitering around. Coming across them, he would cling to his father and shake all over. Next to the tavern is a road, a cart track, always dusty and always black. On it goes, winding along and curving round to the right of the town cemetery, some 300 yards away. In the middle of the cemetery stands a stone church with a green cupola, where he used to go to church twice a year with his mother and father, for services held in memory of his grandmother, who was already long dead and whom he had never seen. They would always bring kucha on a white dish covered with a napkin, and the kucha would be made of sugar, rice, raisins pressed into the rice to form a cross. He loved this church and its ancient icons, most of them without metal casing, and the old priest with the twitching head. Next to his grandmother's grave, which had a tombstone, was the small grave of his younger brother, who died at 6 months, and whom he'd also never known and couldn't remember. But he'd been told he once had a little brother, and every time he visited the cemetery, he made a pious, respectful sign of the cross before the little grave, bowed to it and kissed it. And now he's dreaming that he and his father are walking along the path past the tavern towards the cemetery. He's holding his father's hand and keeps glancing back at the tavern in terror. A particular circumstance attracts his attention. Some kind of party is underway. There's a crowd of dressed-up townswomen with their husbands and assorted lowlife. Everyone's drunk, everyone's singing, and there's a cart, a rather strange one, by the entrance to the tavern. It's one of those big carts to which big draft horses are harnessed, which carry goods and wine barrels. He always liked looking at these enormous draft horses, with their long manes and sturdy legs, walking along at a measured pace and pulling entire mountains of stuff, not straining in the slightest, as though they found it easier to carry a load than not to. But now, strangely enough, the horse harnessed to such a big cart is small, scrawny, and yellowish-brown, a real peasant's nag, one of those which he had often seen struggling beneath the load of firewood or hay, especially if the cart had got stuck in the mud or in a rut, and then the peasants always beat them so very hard with their whips, sometimes right across their muzzles and eyes. Oh, poor horses. And he would feel so very sorry for them that he'd be on the verge of tears. and Mummy would lead him away from the window. But now it's suddenly become terribly noisy. Great strapping peasants, roaring drunk, in red and blue shirts, their heavy coats hanging loose from their shoulders, are coming out of the tavern, shouting, singing, and playing balalaikas. I recognise that word from a song. It's a musical instrument, obviously. Winds of change. Hop on, all of you, shouts one, still young with a big fat neck and pulpy carrot-red face. I'll take the lot of you, hop on. But everyone starts laughing and yelling. On a nag like that? Milkoka, you must be soft in the head. An old mare pulling a cart like that? That sorrel must be going on 20, lads. Hop on, I'll take the lot of you, Milkoka shouts again. Jumping first onto the cart, he takes the reins and stands up tall on the front board. I think a child has been possessed. The bay's gone with Matvey, he shouts from the cart, and this old mare just pains my heart. I've half a mind to kill her, brothers. She's money down the drain. Up on, I say, I'll get her galloping. Galloping. He picks up the whip, relishing the prospect of flogging the sorrel. Up on. Why not? Someone guffaws in the crowd. Galloping, eh? Bet she's not galloped for 10 years or more. She will now. Show no mercy, brothers. Grab your whips, all of you, and have 'em ready. Right you are. Flog her. They clambered into Milkolka's cart, laughing and joking. Some half a dozen men had climbed aboard, and there's still room for more. They've got a woman with them, fat and ruddy-cheeked. She's wearing red calico and a horned headdress with beads and little booties. She's cracking nuts and tittering. Everyone in the crowd is laughing as well, and who could blame them? This clapped-out old mare galloping with a load like that. 2 lads in the cart grab a whip each to help Milkoka. Gee up, someone cries, and the old nag tugs with all the strength she can muster. But she's barely capable of walking, never mind galloping. She just takes tiny little steps, groans, and slumps under the blows raining down on her from the 3 whips. This is horrible. The laughter in the cart and the crowd becomes twice as loud, but Milkoka's furious and his blows land faster and faster, as if he really does believe that the old mare will start galloping. Brothers, wait for me, shouts a lad from the crowd, getting into the spirit. Up in all ya, shouts Milkolka. She'll take the lot of you. I'll flog her dead. He's lashing her, and lashing her, no longer knows what to hit her. I told you it was Chaos Reading Corner. He's lashing her, and no longer knows what to hit her with in his frenzy. Daddy, Daddy, he shouts to his father. What are they doing, Daddy? Daddy, they're beating the poor little horse. Come on, boy, says the father. Just drunken idiots fooling around. Off we go, boy, don't look. And tries to lead him away. But he breaks free of his grasp and quite beside himself runs to the horse. But the poor little horse is in a bad way. She's struggling for breath, stops, gives another tug and almost falls. Flog her till she drops, shouts Milkoka. She's asking for it. I'll flog her dead. Where's your fear of God, you mad beast? Yells an old man in the crowd. When's a mare like that ever hauled such a load? Adds another. You'll do her in, shouts a third. Stay out of it, she's my property. I'll do what I like. Up on, all ye. I'll be damned if she don't gallop. A sudden volley of laughter drowns out everything else. The ever more frequent blows prove too much for the old nag, and she begins feebly kicking out. Even the old man can't hold back a grin, and no wonder, a clapped-out old mare like her and still kicking out. 2 other lads in the crowd grab a whip each. Is that 5 now? And run up to the horse to flog her from the side. Oh, God. They race in from opposite directions, Whip her on snout. The eyes, the eyes, shouts Milkoka. A song, brothers, someone shouts from the cart, and everyone in the cart sings along with him. A boisterous song starts up, a tambourine jingles, and there's whistling during the refrain. The fat woman cracks nuts and titters. He's running alongside the little horse, running ahead, watching them as they whip her across the eyes, right across the eyes. He's crying. His heart surges, tears flow. One of the floggers catches him on the face. He doesn't feel it, wrings his hands, shouts, rushes to the grey old man with the grey beard, who's shaking his head in disapproval. A woman grabs his hand and tries to lead him away, but he breaks free and again he runs to the horse. She has no strength, yet still she kicks out once more. "Mad beast, eh?" screams Milkolka in wild fury. He drops the whip, bends over the cart and pulls out from the bottom a long, thick shaft. He picks up one end with both hands and, straining every sinew, starts swinging it over the sorrel. "He'll smash her in two," someone shouts. "He'll kill her." "My property," shouts Milkolka and brings the shaft down with all his force. The impact is loud and heavy. "Flog her! Flog her! Don't stop!" shout voices from the crowd. Milkolka swings for a second time and another crushing blow lands on the spine of the wretched nag. She falls right back on her rump, but jerks up again and tugs every which way with her last ounce of strength, trying to shift the cart. But 6 whips are lashing her from all sides, and again the shaft is raised and falls for a third time, then a fourth, steadily with heavy swings. Milkolka is furious that one blow is not enough to kill her. "She's a sticker," someone shouts from the crowd. "Now she's sure to fall, brothers. Now she's at it," yells another enthusiastic observer. "An axe'll do it," shouts a third. "I'll feed you to the flies. Out me way," Milkolka screams uncontrollably. He drops the shaft, leans over the cart once more and pulls out an iron crowbar. "Oh, good God." "Look out," he shouts, and clubs his poor mare with all his strength. A shattering blow. The mare begins to totter, slumps, tries to tug, but the bar comes crashing down on her spine once more and she falls to the ground as if her 4 legs had all been hacked off at once. "Finish her off," shouts Milkolka, and, quite beside himself, jumps down from the cart. Several lads, also red-faced with drink, grab whatever they can, whips, sticks, the shaft, and run over to the dying mare. Milkolka stands on one side and starts hitting her over the back with a crowbar. The nag stretches out her muzzle, sighs heavily, and dies. "Got there in the end," comes a voice from the crowd. "She should have galloped." "My property," shouts Milkolka, standing there with the bar in his hands and bloodshot eyes. He seems sorry not to have anyone left to hit. "You've no fear of God," shouts the crowd in many voices now. But the poor boy is beside himself. He yells and squeezes his way through the crowd to the sorrel, throws his arms around her dead, bloodied muzzle and kisses her on her eyes, her lips. Then he suddenly jumps up and charges at Milkolka with his little fists. At that very moment his father, who's been chasing after him in vain, finally grabs him and hauls him out of the crowd. "Off we go now, off we go," he tells him. "Home." "Daddy, the poor little horse, they've killed it. What for?" he sobs, but he can barely breathe and the words burst from his tightening chest like screams. "Just drunks fooling around. Off we go. It's none of our business," says his father. He hugs his father, but his chest feels tighter and tighter. He wants to catch his breath and scream, then wakes. He woke in a cold sweat, his hair soaked. That makes me wonder whether the author actually saw something like that, because that was so descriptive. and vivid. I am quite shaken by that. He woke in a cold sweat, his hair soaked, gasping for breath. He lifted himself up in terror. "Thank God, just a dream," he said, sitting up under a tree and drawing deep breaths. So he used to be a person of quite deep feeling and a lot of empathy. So I wonder what happened to take that all away. Okay, let's go. "Thank God, just a dream," he said, sitting up under a tree and drawing deep breaths. "But what's happening? Hope it's not a fever coming on. What a hideous dream." His whole body felt broken, his soul troubled and dark. Resting his elbows on his knees, he propped his head in his hands. "My God," he exclaimed. "Will I really, actually take an axe, start bashing her on the head, smash her skull to pieces? Who is he talking about? Is he talking about the little old lady? I thought he was just going to rob her. Will I really slip in sticky warm blood, force the lock, steal, tremble, hide, all soaked in blood, axe in hand? Lord, will I really?" He shook as he said this. "But what am I saying?" he continued, raising himself up once more, as if in deep astonishment. "After all, I knew this would be too much for me. So why have I been tormenting myself all this time? Just yesterday when I went to do that test. Even then I understood full well that I'd crack. So what is all this? How can I still be in any doubt? Only yesterday, coming down the stairs, didn't I say that all this is despicable, foul, vile? The very thought of it in reality made me sick with horror. No, I'll crack. Even supposing that all these calculations are entirely sound, that all the decisions taken during this past month are as clear as day, as sound as arithmetic. Lord, even then I'll not dare. In the end I'll crack. So what on earth am I still? He got to his feet, looked about in surprise, as if his coming here were also a cause for wonder, and made off towards, there is no note for this, so the bridge. It's another blocked out word. Made off towards the bridge. He was pale, his eyes were burning, and every limb ached with exhaustion. But suddenly he seemed to be breathing more freely. He felt that he had cast off the terrible weight that had been crushing him for so long, and his soul suddenly felt light and at peace. "Lord," he prayed, "show me my path, while I renounce this damned dream of mine." Crossing the bridge, he gazed in quiet serenity at the Neva, at the bright setting of the red sun. Despite his weakness, he felt no tiredness, as if an abscess that had been developing all month on his heart had suddenly burst. Freedom! He was free from this spell, from sorcery and charms, from evil delusion. Subsequently, when he recalled this time, and all that had happened to him during these days, minute by minute, point by point, mark by mark, he was always struck, to a superstitious degree, by a certain circumstance which, though in fact not all that extraordinary, had, he later felt, somehow predetermined his fate. Namely, he was simply incapable of understanding or explaining to himself why he'd returned home via Haymarket Square, a place he had not the slightest reason to visit, when it would have made far more sense for him, tired and worn out as he was, to take the shortest, most direct route home. It wasn't much of a detour, but it was an unmistakable and quite unnecessary one. Of course, there had been dozens of occasions when he'd returned home without remembering the streets along which he'd walked, but why on earth, he would always wonder, should this encounter on Haymarket Square, one so important and so decisive for him, and at the same time so very fortuitous, in a place he had no need to go to, Why should it have occurred right then, at such an hour, such a moment of his life, when he found himself in precisely the mood and precisely the circumstances required for this encounter to have the most decisive and most definitive effect on his entire fate? As if it had been lying in wait for him. It was about 9 when he crossed Haymarket. All the traders at the tables and stalls, and in the shops and little stores, were locking up their goods or taking them down and putting them away, and making their way home, as were their customers. In the filthy, stinking courtyards of Haymarket Square, near the eating houses on the lower floors, and especially outside the drinking dens, thronged traffickers and rag dealers of every kind. Raskolnikov was often drawn to this square and all the nearby streets during his aimless wanders. Here his rags attracted no one's disdain, and nobody could care less what he looked like, another blocked-out word. On the very corner of the lane, a tradesman and his wife were selling goods at 2 side tables, thread, tape, cotton handkerchief, and so on. They too were packing up for the day, but they paused to chat to an acquaintance. The acquaintance was Lizaveta Ivanovna, or simply Lizaveta, as everyone called her, the younger sister of that same old woman, Alonya. Oh, wait. So Marmeladov's wife is not the sister. I thought they had the same name. I'm so confused. Okay. Totally cocked that one up then, didn't I? The younger sister of that same old woman, Alonya Ivanovna, the collegiate registrar's widow and moneylender whom Raskolnikov had visited the day before to pawn the watch and do his test. He had long known all there was to know about this Lizaveta, and she even knew him a little. She was a tall, ungainly, timid, meek spinster, 35 years old, and all but an imbecile. She was completely enslaved to her sister, worked for her day and night, quivered in her presence, and even took beatings from her. With a bundle in her hand, she stood in hesitation before the tradesman and his wife, listening to them attentively. They were heatedly trying to explain something to her. He's just sitting there revving his goddamn engine now. They were heatedly trying to explain something to her. When Raskolnikov suddenly caught sight of her, he was overcome by a strange sensation resembling the deepest astonishment, even though this encounter had nothing astonishing about it. Lizaveta Ivanovna, my dear, why don't you decide for yourself? The tradesman was saying in a loud voice. Come by tomorrow between 6 and 7. That lot will come too. Tomorrow, said Lizaveta slowly and pensively, as if in 2 minds. Alonya Ivanovna's put the wind up you, and no mistake, jabbered the trader's wife, a lively sort. I look at you, lady, and think, a child, a mere child, and your sister's only your half-sister, but look how she's got you under her thumb. No need to say anything to Alonya Ivanovna this time. Her husband broke in. That's my advice anyway. Just come to us without asking. It's a nice bit of business, lady. Your big sister will see for herself later. Maybe I should? Between 6 and 7 tomorrow. Them lot will come too. Decide for yourself, dear. We'll get the samovar going, added his wife. All right, I'll come, said Lizaveta, still thinking it over, then slowly moved off. Raskolnikov walked past at this point and heard no more. He'd slipped by quietly, trying to catch every word. His initial astonishment had given way, little by little, to horror, like ice down his spine. He'd learned, suddenly and quite unexpectedly, that tomorrow, at precisely 7 o'clock in the evening, Lizaveta, the old woman's sister and sole cohabitant, would not be in, and that, as a result, the old woman at precisely 7 o'clock in the evening would be at home on her own. Don't do it, man. He's going to do it. There's a whole bloody book left. His room was only a few steps away. He entered like a man sentenced to death. He wasn't thinking, nor was he capable of thinking. But he suddenly felt in every fibre of his being that he no longer had the freedom of reason or will, and that everything had suddenly been decided for good. Of course, even if he'd waited years on end for a favourable opportunity, even then, with a plan in place, he could scarcely have counted on a surer step towards the successful execution of that plan than the one that had suddenly presented itself now. In any case, it would have been difficult to establish, just the day before, with greater precision or smaller risk, without the need for any dangerous inquiries or searches, that the very next day, at such and such a time, and such a woman, the object of an intended murder, there you go, murder, would be home all alone.